episode of Musical Chairs with me, CheerUpCharlie. And today we have the amazing, the wonderful, the master of mischief, the world's greatest funny man, the parkour legend, Dave Hearn. Woo woo!
Hello, woo woo! Indeed, the introduction was far too kind.
That was my comedy clap. Isn't it comedy gold?
Inspired.
So, are you ready for some funny questions? Some interesting questions and some serious questions.
Yeah, I'm ready for all of those.
Good then. Let's get right into it. What age did you discover you loved to perform, and in particular comedy?
That's a good question. So I started acting quite late, I think. I didn't start until I was about 17. And no, that's technically I did a GCSE. Do you guys still have GCSEs? Is that still a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. I'm not that old. Wonderful. And yeah, so I did a GCSE in year 9, 10, to boost my confidence because I was quite a shy kid. And then I left it for quite a while, and then I did some other work, had a year out kind of thing, didn't really get on with sixth form and education and stuff like that, and then I went back to college and did a BTEC in performing arts. But yeah, I performed my first play called Stags and Hens at the Harlow Playhouse when I was 17 years old, and I did lots of pantos and stuff, lots of Townsperson 1, Villager 2, that sort of thing. But yeah, it wasn't till quite late. And then I went from college, I got onto the foundation course at LAMDA, and then I got onto the 3-year course at Bruford, and I sort of never looked back.
Did you get in trouble at school for acting like the class clown, and does this mean you're actually funny?
Yes, I did. And no, I don't think it does mean I'm funny. I wish it did. I think some teachers found me quite funny, but I think a lot of teachers just found me quite annoying. But that's okay, because I had fun.
Well,
but I think, I talked quite a lot. I think that was my problem.
I think you're incredibly funny and incredibly smart for creating all these comedy shows and that, and incredibly kind. So who cares what those teachers think?
Oh, well, I didn't ever listen to them, but if there are younger people watching this, you should listen to teachers.
Yeah.
You should. Yeah. They're good. But I didn't, and I turned out fine.
And only if they're not horrible teachers. It's a horrible teacher.
Yeah, not horrible.
No. Don't listen to horrible teachers.
Mm.
So I know your mum is a nurse and your dad worked in a lab with blood. Were they really supportive from the start, or did they ever want you to move into the medical world?
That's really, you've done your research. That's impressive.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were really supportive, really sometimes too supportive, if that is possible. I think.
Yeah, I think it's possible.
Yeah, I think when I went to LAMDA, to do the foundation course is quite expensive. And our family we're not like we're not the most wealthy family, to be fair.
No.
And so my parents made some huge financial sacrifices in order to send me to LAMDA. And lucky for them, now it's paid off.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
It could have easily not paid off, and it could have been worse. But yeah, my parents have been, and my sister particularly as well, have been really, really supportive, coming to all the shows really early on, paying money to come and see us in really rubbish small fringe venues with audiences of less and stuff. So they're amazing. They've been amazing.
I've watched some fringe shows before, and to be honest with you, some of them are better than some West End shows I've seen. So
that is often true. You got to find. There are a lot of fringe shows. You got to find the gems, diamond in the rough.
Aladdin. Do you believe that training should be accessible to everyone, and how can we help this to happen?
No, training should only be accessible to people like me. No, I think training should definitely be accessible to everyone. I think I think helping it to basically, I think going into schools and teaching children that there are many different areas of the arts that you can go into. It's not just
Yeah.
acting, singing, dancing. There's lots of different things you
Mhm.
can do, because I think a lot of people either don't see themselves represented on TV, and by that I mean class, I mean race, I mean age, lots of things, which we can do a lot more now to combat and help. But also, I think teaching younger people that going into design and stage management and those areas, logistics and things like that, that they can contribute to the arts in all kinds of ways. And I think that's really important, because I think there's a kind of emphasis on wanting to be famous. And actually, famous people only exist because they're held up by other people who are usually far more talented than they are. That's how my career has worked.
What was your very first big break?
Very first big break. So I would say when we did the Play That Goes Wrong initially, which you hadn't seen, and I know that because you told me. But when we first put that on, that was on at the theatre called the Old Red Lion, and then we had our producers Kenny Wax and Mark Bentley came to see us when we moved to the Trafalgar studio. And I'd say the first really big moment for us was when we opened in Canterbury, the full 2-act show. That was the first day of the tour, of the big tour of Play That Goes Wrong. And it went down really well. Everyone really loved it. Everyone found it very, very funny. And the producers loved it, and because they'd taken a huge risk on us. They put lots of money into this show that no one had ever heard of, with actors no one had ever heard of. And yeah, I like to think on that night we delivered, and I think from then on that was the momentum that carried us through to everything that's happened since then.
Where did the inspiration for Mischief Theatre come from?
So we are led from the front by a wonderful man named Henry Lewis, who is the artistic director. He's a very good friend of mine, and we were at LAMDA together. And there's another guy called Jonathan Sayer, who is the company director. But Hen started the company back in sort of 2007/8, and he initially wanted it to be. We wanted to do an improv show, and so the kind of idea for it was whoever was available and could come to Edinburgh. That was what the company was kind of based on. And then over the years, we've kind of morphed and changed. And so the inspiration has come from always working together, I think, and always trying to make sure that we're looking at what the funniest option is and how we can make our shows better by working with each other rather than kind of working as individuals and letting our egos get in the way.
Yeah. What is your most memorable moment today? You must have so many, but does one really stand out to you?
One really stand out. Yeah, so this one's slightly complicated, right? But this is one of my favourite things that ever happened on stage, and it was something that went wrong, and it was to do with Henry Shields. And Henry Shields is gonna be very upset with me telling this story. But during the comedy about a bank robbery, which you have seen, which is very good, there's a very complicated sequence in Act 2 where loads of people are disguised as a character called Mr. Freeboys. Within that complicated sequence, there is a very funny sequence in which the people disguised as Mr. Freeboys keep losing their trousers in various ways. Until the end of the sequence, you have 3 Freeboys, all with no trousers on. Very silly, very farcical, very funny. The last person to lose their trousers is the actual Mr. Freeboys himself. And the reason he loses his trousers is because a character called Mitch mistakes him for one of the disguised Mr. Freeboys. And says, you need to take your trousers off so that you match, and goes to rip his trousers off. Now, Henry Shields started that scene about 2 or 3 scenes too early. And the guy playing Mr. Freeboys didn't have his rippable trousers on. And so Henry Shields came out and said, you need to take off your pants. And Henry Lewis was like, no, I don't. And he's like, yeah, you got to take off your pants. And this went on for a few seconds. And I was off stage watching it. And after a few seconds, Henry Shields realized what had happened, and he went like see-through. He was so scared, and he realized, and he was just like, oh, take off your pants, and just didn't know what to do. And then eventually the scene kind of carried on. Some people crashed into the scene and they all ran off. And then we backstage very quickly tried to work out what we could do. And we managed to solve it by Henry Shields just repeated the scene, bless him, and just ripped his trousers off when he had the correct trousers on. But that was a pretty scary moment. And that's a really good example in a farce. Like, if it seems from the outside very, very easy, but if even one small piece doesn't fit or goes wrong, then the whole thing falls apart. So luckily that never happened again. We learned from that. So that was good.
Yeah, that's cool. So, CheerUpCharlie was born due to the bullying I received for my love of dance and song, particularly because I don't fit into the stereotype of what a boy should do, and I don't stick to the status quo. A little musical theatre joke for those of you out there that like theatre, which I hope you all do if you're watching this, or maybe you're just massive fans of the amazing Dave Hearn. But yeah, so how do you think we should change the negative behaviour that seems to evolve from the playgrounds?
Yeah, when you told me about this is it's really sad, I think. I think there's a real issue kind of surrounding, I guess, masculinity within the arts, and the idea that is perpetuated that it's not for boys to do singing and dancing. And I think that's a really toxic and a really poisonous idea. I think, again, similar to the question you asked earlier, I think a way of combating that is to bring more students into the West End, into musicals, and get them to see high production value shows, to see how brilliant they are, to see how skilled and magnificent they can be, as well as bringing shows and West End actors into schools to talk to students, particularly male West End actors, male dancers, male singers, because I've met a few male dancers in my time in the acting world, and they're machines. They're so strong. They're so powerful. And I think that's something that we don't really think about. We've got this really old idea of singing and dancing, and it's not right. And I think a way is to educate younger people, show them that there is lots of diversity and range within the arts, and it's not just for pretty ladies to prance around. It's for everyone.
Have you ever suffered from any form of bullying, either as a child or in the industry?
Yes, although I'm very fortunate because I, being a white straight man, I sit in a category that is quite privileged, and so I'm often not the target of any kind of abuse. But when I was probably in year 7 or year 8, there was a guy in the year above who intimidated me quite a lot, and he was quite unkind to me. And he threatened me a few times, and we nearly got in a fight once, but he pushed me and I fell over and hit my head quite hard, and I was quite upset by that. But I really remember it quite vividly, and eventually, strangely enough, we both played rugby, and he was in the team above me, and from playing rugby we ended up becoming not good friends, but we ended up becoming friends. And it is really scary. It's really difficult, I think, particularly when you're young as well, because you value different things. And I think the idea of being bullied or being physically overpowered or being attacked physically or verbally for something that you enjoy is really disheartening and can be really scary. And it often comes from a place, I think, of vulnerability from the bullies themselves, of trying to shun a part of themselves that they don't like, and project it onto somebody else. And I think that's really scary. And actually, often bullies, there's this idea, for me personally, I think meeting fire with fire is not the best way of doing it. I think the way you've handled it is absolutely wonderful. I think you've created something wonderful from it, and from that kind of seed of something that is very sad and upsetting, you've sort of bloomed this flower that's very, very joyful and exciting and engaging. And I think 9 times out of 10, the way to solve bullying is with compassion and care rather than going on the attack. And I think, that's That's a real shame that you and I have been through something, and it will continue to happen, but we will continue to evolve strategies to deal with it, I think.
Yeah. Do you work alongside any charities?
Yes, I am currently the trustee of a charity called Christmas for Kids. And we create sensory shows, so things that have things that you can kind of touch and smell and all that sort of stuff. And before the lockdown happened, our shows go into hospices and deal with terminally ill children who are currently very sadly on end of life care, and who are not well enough basically to come to the theatre. So I don't perform in the shows and I don't write any of the shows, but I kind of support them creatively. And they, the people who do that are very brilliant. And but we as a company, we work with kids who wouldn't otherwise be able to access live entertainment in that way. And it's really cool. I've seen some of the stuff that's been produced, and it's really rewarding. Christmas for Kids. Donate now.
See, you are funny. Incredibly funny. I have watched some of your parkour. It's amazing. How did you get into that?
So I did that a couple of years ago when I was training at Bruford. I went to a couple of classes in Waterloo, and I think the same as you. I'd sort of seen it on TV and stuff, and seen people doing cool flips and running and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, I want to be able to do that. And then I just kind of worked with a trainer for a couple of months, and then I took a little break from it, and then I made friends with this trainer because he was doing classes for people who were much younger, and so I used to have personal lessons with him, and I still see him now. I do things like trampolining and gymnastics and flips and leaps and jumps and stuff. I'm not very good, but it's a lot of fun to do.
You are. I've watched
it's a good way of overcoming your fear, I think.
I've watched some clips of you doing parkour online. You are very good.
Well, again, you're very kind.
Now for some funny questions. Are you ready? Because this is where it gets very, very interesting. And because it's my fun now.
Okay. I'm a little nervous now.
Ignore that grim smile. Do you have a nickname? And if so, how'd you get it?
Do I have a nickname? Do you know what? This is a really boring nickname. People just call me D. And I say get it because my name begins with a D, which is not so imaginative. I'm now trying to think of a nickname, but no, I think it is just D. That's my nickname.
A rapper named D. Hey, my name is D, and I do comedy. And that's the end of my rap. Mic drop.
That was good. I particularly enjoyed rhyming D with comedy. And
I didn't even mean to do that, to be honest with you.
That was great.
What do you still get most in trouble for doing?
Laughing, smiling, corpsing, mucking around, trying to make other people laugh.
That's your job. You're a comedian. It's your job.
Yeah, but the thing is weirdly enough, in comedy, you've got to take it very seriously.
Yeah.
But we're very serious about being silly. But no, on stage, I sort of do. I go rogue occasionally and try new things. I get in trouble for that sometimes. I can be a bit too eager, a bit too overzealous, jump the gun.
There's nothing wrong with. There's no such thing as too eager.
Oh well, that's good. Do you know what? I'm going to remember that next time someone says, you've gone in, you're too eager. I'm going to go, no, I'm not. You can see it online. I did an interview where someone told me you can't be too eager, and I'll refer them to you, and then you'll get in trouble. I'll send them your way.
And there's nothing wrong with trying anything new. Although I would kind of not go rogue on stage and do it, but maybe try it in like the rehearsals. Just try not to lose your job.
Yeah, no, in rehearsals is the time for that. I think we're really lucky in Mischief because we as we create our own shows, a lot of our new stuff is developed during that that preview period, that sort of 4 weeks in front of an audience, and you just sort of figure out what they like, what they don't like. And so sometimes it really works. Sometimes, you know, improvising new stuff on stage in front of everyone, very effective. Sometimes you wish you hadn't done it. Often that's what happens.
Yeah. So have you got any embarrassing moments that you would much rather forget?
Yeah, there's a couple. You're dragging them up. All right. So I taught some students, some people like 13 to 18 in Hammersmith, and I taught a comedy course with these 2 other guys, very talented sketch writers. And one of the classes that I led was a physical comedy class where I was teaching people how to fall over, how to trip up curbs, how to fall off chairs, that kind of stuff. And at the end of the class, I was showing what's actually quite a difficult move, but it looks really, really effective, is opening a door onto your face. So you go to open a door and you hit yourself in the face. And I was showing them how to do it. And as I was doing it, the door is, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, the door is like here, yeah. So the door is here and I'm opening it, and the door is kind of stopping like this. So it's not hitting me in the face. But as I turned to explain to one of the students, I pulled the door and it cracked me in the head. And everyone, and it didn't hurt actually a huge amount. I was just like, oh, took a little knock to the head, and I was just like, great. And so I tried to sort of really underplay it, because I'd got these students on side in this lesson, and it was right at the end. And I was like, no, I'm fine. It happens. Sorry, it's fine. And then I had a little cut here, and my head just started bleeding. And someone was like, oh my God, you're bleeding. And I just completely lost control of the class. And I was very upset, because I'd worked really hard in that class. And I was truly very embarrassed, because I was supposed to be the one not smashing my face into a door.
What is your most disgusting habit? Everyone has one, and there are some really bad ones coming out now.
Wow, okay, my most disgusting habit. Oh, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I've probably got loads. It's hard. I think my girlfriend would probably be able to answer it very, very quickly. My most disgusting habit. Do you know what? One of my most disgusting. This is like not. This is less of a habit and more just like avoiding a chore. We have a food bin, like a food recycling bin in our house, and often if it's full, I'll pretend that it isn't full and ignore it until somebody else takes it away. And often if that happens, it will grow some mold inside it. And the worse it gets, the more I want to leave it. And then I do leave it. But then the bag itself tears when you try and remove it. And then you've just got a box full of old moldy food. And you think I'd have learnt my lesson, but I haven't. And it's less of a habit and more of just bad house etiquette.
No, I think that's a habit.
Yeah.
Ugh. Now for a round of quickfire questions.
All right.
Text or talk?
Talk.
Chocolate or Haribo?
Haribo Tangfastics.
Ooh. Morning person or night owl?
Night owl.
Favourite city?
London / New York.
Both my favourite cities as well. Last song downloaded?
It was called Go by M83.
Wow, that was so quick. Nobody ever does it that quick. Everyone normally has to check their phones.
I was getting my phone out, and I was like, this will buy me enough time. This is a classic thing that improvisers do. You give yourself something to do until you can think of it. But I got it.
That was really quick. Superpower?
Superpower would be to like immediately learn. I was going to say all languages, but I want to speak to animals. That's what I want.
Okay. Harry Potter house?
I think I'm. What am I? I think I'm Gryffindor.
Harry Potter character.
Harry Potter character. Which what is my favourite, or would I like to be? Favourite. It's Snape. It's Alan Rickman.
Favorite place to eat.
Favorite place to eat. Anywhere that does like really good pizza. Theo's Pizza is very good.
Have you ever been to Mod Pizza?
Yes, I have. I've modded a pizza.
Yeah, Mod Pizza is very good.
It's really good. I was surprised. I thought it wasn't going to be great, but it was really, really good. I enjoyed it a lot.
We can go there for dinner or lunch after lockdown if you want.
I would enjoy that very much.
Yes, that's 7 dates with the stars now.
Oh, nice.
So now I would normally do a tongue twister here, but because you're so incredibly funny and a comedy genius, you have 30 seconds to make me laugh. Starting
30 seconds to make you laugh. Okay.
now.
Hoo! Hoo! Did you laugh? No. Okay. Hold on.
7.
I've got some help.
8.
Hey!
11.
Ah? Yeah. Okay, wait.
You got it in 11 seconds.
There you go. Physical comedy.
Very good, very good.
Thank you.
Oh, that was cool. Thank you so much, Dane. It was really, really fun. And it was really, really awesome.
Pleasure.
You're so funny. Don't let anyone take that away from you. You're so funny, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise either.
I won't. And if they do, I'll send them your way.
And remember, there's no such thing as being too enthusiastic.
Yes, thank you very much. I shall take that with me everywhere. Sage advice.
Thank you so much again for doing this interview. It was a pleasure and an honour.
My absolute pleasure. And you look after yourself and have a lovely week.
You too. Bye.
Take care.
Bye, Dave.
Bye-bye.
So that was another episode of Musical Chairs with CheerUpCharlie. And remember, if you want to make a difference and you want to make a change, subscribe and hit that like button. It's just in the comment section. Now, because we need you to make a difference. We can't make a difference without you. And remember, if you subscribe, turn on your notifications to get notified when a new video comes out. Bye, everybody!